Hey everybody, welcome back. So we're waiting. I don't know if you saw our video or how these are going to air, but we actually made some einkorn wheat bread and we're in the process of waiting for it to cool. And we thought, what would go better with that bread than a pot roast? And we recently did a little post on our Facebook page and we asked people what they wanted to say. And Dan, this is for you.
Yeah, Dex, hope you're doing well, buddy.
You requested pot roast. I think Leslie said pot roast is always good. So we're going to do pot roast. And what we got here is we got a round roast and got a nice little bit of fat on there. Normally I would do this in a pot and I would let it cook all day long and like on a weekend when I'm home because I love the aroma that fills up the house and just cooking something slow like that. But a lot of times you just don't have time. So we're going to do this in a crock pot because I think that's how most people do their pot roast. Okay, so we're going to put our cast iron skillet. Now, if you were doing it in a pot, you could certainly take your stainless pot or cast iron pot, whatever, and heat that up to brown your roast and cook all in the same thing. You could even skip browning it. I'm a firm believer in browning your meat. So we're going to let this lard get hot here. I use lard. You can use whatever you want. I prefer lard. So while that gets hot, we're going to take a little salt, some sea salt, and we're going to put it on the top of here. And that way this can draw out a little, and we're not going to add any more salt to this. I know that looks like a lot of salt, but it's sea salt, so. And we're going to put some black pepper. On both sides. Wipe my hand off. And the salt is going to draw some juices out of that meat. And it's going to give us a real nice brown. So don't skip this part. Okay, so everybody has a way that they can tell when their oil in their skillet is hot. I usually take just a little water and I just get my finger wet and I just go like that to just get a tiny bit of drop of water in there and it spatters. But some people could get a little carried away with that and start a grease fire. So I'm not telling you to do that. But if you look in here at the skillet, see how viscous it is? See how it almost moves like water? Now let it, just, if you watch this, you'll see already here, it's starting to come off of here. And I had a little piece of pepper in there and it just popped at me. So we're hot, we're ready. It's pretty liquidy. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna try to get our pepper that I lost on the plate. I'm gonna set this in here. That's what you want. If you don't have that sizzle, your skillet isn't hot, take it back out and let the skillet get a little hotter. We're going to brown this on both sides, and then we're going to put it in the crock pot with the rest of our stuff. And that's what you want to see. See all that brown? We do have some pepper burning in here, but that doesn't matter. When you do this, you seal, you're searing this outside, and it seals the fibers of that meat up to keep your juice inside. And not only that, but when you cook this brown the meat juice is caramelizing as well, and it makes your gravy or your juice, whether you choose to not make gravy, it just makes it that much richer. Okay, since our second side is almost brown, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our onion. I've taken this onion, just a medium yellow onion, and I've cut it into quarters. I'm sure you can see that. And we're going to brown this onion a little bit, just to get a little extra flavor from our onion as well. And this onion, I'll actually pull this out of there when it's done. If somebody wants to eat it, we can slice it up and they can mix it in with theirs, but somebody who doesn't want it, they don't have to. I'm going to turn this, that big fat that was on there, I'm going to turn this fat side down.
That someone might be me. I love onions.
There's nothing wrong with onions, that's for sure. I can smell the onions already.
Mm-hmm.
Just the onions brown and they smell so good. We're just going to brown this around all all the sides as best as we can, because we don't want to give that juice anywhere to escape. Since all your round cuts are actually a drier cut anyway, that's why they're great for pot roast. I think it's looking pretty good. I think we're ready to put that in our crock pot. Set that in there. We give our onions just a second longer. We're going to throw a little more black pepper on top of our roast. Let me pull this out here. Put a little more black pepper on top of our roast because we like black pepper. Then we're going to set these onions.
Man, those smell good.
Turn this off. We're going to set these onions smell awesome. And you don't get that flavor if you don't brown those onions. If you take those onions and you put them in your skillet and let them finish browning when your meat's about done, the flavor of them is just amplified. It's so much better. So now we're going to get a little bit of water in the skillet. Let me go grab a cup. Now we're going to add a shot of water. I don't know, what was that, about 2 to 4 ounces, whatever. We're going to add more anyway once we get it out into the crock pot. We're just going to scrape the bottom to get all that good stuff off, the browning and the pieces of pepper that actually browned. And we don't want to waste any of those flavors, the meat juice, the onions. And when you got it scraped off, and never do this with anything metal, always use wood in your cast iron. Don't use metal. Silicone is fine, but it won't do the job as well as my favorite tool.
Metal will take the seasoning right off of the cast iron.
So we're going to go ahead and dump this liquid in there. See that color? And that's what makes it good.
The goodness.
Mm-hmm. That is the goodness. Now we've got a couple of garlics that I took and I cut in half. We're just going to sprinkle those in there. I cut them in half because it helps them cook up and then they just kind of disintegrate. And you don't have to worry about trying to get them out. After the garlic, I always put the potatoes on first because the potatoes generally will take longer to cook than the carrots. So we're just going to take these potatoes, however many potatoes you think that you're going to need to feed your family with that meat. There is no set amount. You can fill it all the way up to the top with potatoes and carrots and whatever other vegetables you want to put in here. You know, you could put green beans or peas or all of it, whatever you want. And I'm going to give that just a little sprinkle of salt. Okay. And then we're going to put our carrots. You can cut these however you want. I did them this way because it seems to be the most standard way. It's the same way Mom always did it. Sometimes I actually cut them into round pieces. And then if I'm home and I can take them out, and then when they're done, I pull them out off the top and I'll put them in a little pot and warm them back up later with some butter. But we're going to do this the standard pot roast way. Okay, so if y'all can see down in there where our level of juices, I can get that back underneath the slider to be easier. Where our level of juices, we're almost to the meat now. But that meat took up most of the surface area of the bottom of this crock pot and then the onions. So we do need to make sure that we have enough liquid in here if you're going to turn this on and go to work. So I might cover the meat just a little bit since that piece of meat was so large. And they don't lose a whole lot of moisture. We'll put the lid on and we're just going to set it for however long you're going to go. You want to go. We're going to go about 8 hours on this. Okay, so we have a big old bowl of potatoes and carrots, and this is our roast. And you can see we have a little trimming to do. There's that fat. Save the onions for somebody who wants to have the onions. And this fat will come right off of here. Let me just grab a little paring knife. See that? Because that fat is all cooked down out of there. And that just scrapes right off. So we'll take that and we'll put that in a scrap pile. And we're going to fix up a plate.
You ready for this taste test?
Are you ready?
I am. Oh, look at that. Nice and tender. The roast melts in your mouth. Potatoes are just perfect. Carrots nice and tender, fantastic. And the onion, which can't be bad. Absolutely delicious. And cannot resist a bite of this homemade bread. Everything just wonderful. This is a winner, and you can do it while you're at work. Try it out, see how you like it. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up. God bless y'all. We'll see you next time.